Michael in Elk Grove, California. Dear Paul, I appreciate all of your answers as I no longer have a true audio salon within 100 miles of me. Yeah, isn't that the truth? I mean, one of the reasons we went direct in our business, at least in the United States, is because the true high-end audio salons, as they used to be called, are far and few between. Now, they still exist, and there are some great ones around, and I love them. But in order to serve our hi-fi family, we just had to really take matters into our own hands, and that's why we have Caleb and James and Chris and all the boys that pick up the phone and talk for half an hour to somebody, giving them advice and helping them with their stereos, because that just ain't happening anymore. Not as much as it used to, and it's getting less and less. So that's just the way of it, bud. So anyway, you have become my trusted source for audio answers. Why, thank you, sir. My pleasure. Question: if I have a speaker rated at 50 to 20 kilohertz, what should the subwoofer crossover point be? 50 hertz or something above to allow for a little overlap? No one seems to have a straightforward answer or even a real opinion. Well, I have both for you. Me with an opinion? Okay, so first off, when we say a speaker has a bottom end that's 50 hertz, what do we mean? If you see that in a spec sheet, what it means is the bottom end of the speaker is rolled off by 3 dB. That means flat, now it's rolled off, that's that roll-off point, and then it goes down by what we call a certain slope, which could be 6 dB per octave, 12 dB per octave, 24 dB, just how steep that slope goes. And that 3 dB down point is where your speaker is cutting off, which is fairly high, but anyway, whatever your speaker is. All right, so now we need, if we set our subwoofer at that same frequency, what does that mean? Well, that means that everything above 50 hertz is going to start being rolled off at a similar slope. So that's a 3 dB down point. So now you've got 2 3 dB down points. And if you match the two, that's a pretty good place to start. Although, that's not where I would start. Because we have to remember, as the slope goes, it starts curving off, right? But it's still there, and this other one's coming up, the subwoofer, and it's still there, and now the two are blending. This is where the room comes into play and where you actually have to listen. So if the 3 dB down point of your speaker is 50 hertz, start at 40 hertz, which is where I would start, and see what you have. Because remember, I've said this, I can't count how many times I've said this. We don't want to hear the subwoofer. If you're playing these speakers, your speakers, whatever you're playing, you want the sound to come from here, from back here. And if there's bass, that bass should come from back here. It should fill the room, and it should not sound like it's coming from the subwoofer over here or wherever the heck your subwoofer is. You don't want to hear your subwoofer. You want to hear bass, but your subwoofer needs to disappear. And that usually happens when you turn the frequency down. So what you're going to be doing is starting, say, at 40 hertz. You're going to be seeing if you can fill in everything and get your low, deep bass. And you're going to turn the volume and the low-pass filter up and down to where you get bass, but you don't hear the subwoofer where it's placed, and remember, it can be behind you, it can be to the side of you, it can be over here. And there's a whole process that we've talked about before about positioning the subwoofer so that it works in your listening position. And that's moving the sub around to find the best place where you're out of the dips and the nulls of the sub. So yeah, I'd start at 40 hertz and I'd work my way down, and you may wind up at 35 hertz. Maybe 40, but I probably wouldn't start at 50. All right? Thanks for the question. Bye.